Hi class, I am sorry that I am not able to be with you today, so we are going to do a video lesson instead of a normal lesson where I am up front teaching. Today's lesson is going to be about estimation of percents, and this is section 4.4b. There are four steps that you might need to take in order to solve these problems. First, if the percent is not rounded to a 5 or a 10, you are going to need to round to the nearest 5. Then you are going to take whatever percent you have and you are going to convert that into a reduced fraction. Once you have a reduced fraction, you are going to round the whole number. So whatever you're taking the percent of, and you're going to round it so you can divide by the denominator of whatever fraction you just got. After you do that, you're going to multiply your reduced fraction with your rounded number, and that's going to give you your answer. So, in this first one, we're going to estimate 70% of 41. Looking at our percent, it's already at a 5 or a 10. So we don't need to round 70%. We're going to jump to step 2, which is to convert 70% into a fraction. That starts as 70 over 100, and we can reduce that to 7 over 10. Now, the next step is going to be to look at this whole number, so 41, and I have to say, okay, what is close to 41 that can be divided by the denominator, which is 10? So 41 is close to 40. 40 can be divided by 10. Now our last step is going to be to take our fraction, which is 7 over 10, and multiply it with our rounded number, which is 40. We can reduce using our cross-reducing. 10 goes to 1, 40 goes to 4. 7 times 4 gives us 20 over 1 times 1, 7 times 4 gives us 28 over 1 times 1, giving us just 28. Your answer should always turn out here to be a whole number. If it does not turn out to be a whole number, that means we had some sort of estimating error. Go ahead and try this one on your own. Once again, we're already at a 5 or a 10%, so we're going to get our reduced fraction. We end up with a denominator of 20. Something close to 122 that can be divided by 20 is 120. Cross-reducing, we end up with 7 times 6, which is going to give us 42. In this next example, we don't have a percent that's at a 5 or 10. So we're going to need to start by rounding our percent. So we're at 18%. The nearest 5% or 10% is going to be 20. We're going to convert that to a fraction, which is 20 out of 100, which is 2 out of 10, which is equal to 1 out of 5. Now we look at our whole number. 45 can already be divided by 5, so we don't have to change our whole number. Then when we set up to multiply, I've got 1 over 5 times 45 over 1. Again, we can use our cross-reducing. 5 goes to 1, 45 goes to 9. 1 times 9 is going to give me a final answer of 9. Go ahead and try this one on your own. 48 is going to round to 50%, which is 50 over 100, which is 1/2. 76 can already be divided by 2, so we're going to use our cross-reducing, and we end up with an answer of 38. This next example, we again don't have our percent at a 5 or a 10. So we're starting with 47%. The nearest 5% is rounding down to 45%, which is going to be 45 out of 100, which ends up giving me 9 out of 20. We now need something that is close to 692 that can be divided by 20. The closest thing to 692 that can be divided by 20 is going to be 700. So my multiplication sets up as 9 over 20 times 700 over 1. And when I do that, we now have our cross reducing. 20 can go into 700 35 times. So up top we have 9 times 35, which is going to give me 315. Go ahead and try this one on your own. The nearest percent to 62 is 60, which is 60 out of 100, 6 out of 10, 3 out of 5. 27 is close to 25, which can give you 15, or 27 is close to 30, which can give you 18. So some of them, there are two options. So if you got 15 or 18, both of those answers are correct. And now for everyone's favorite part of the lesson, word problems! Yay! Polar bears can eat as much as 11% of their own body weight in less than an hour. And if an adult male polar bear weighs 715 pounds, how much food can he eat in an hour? So we want to go back and we want to look, and we've got as much as 11%. So that's our percent, and our whole number is saying that the polar bear weighs 715 pounds. So the problem we would be trying to solve is 11% of 715. So we're going to need to round here. Our percent, which is 11%, is going to round down to 10%, which is going to be 10 out of 100, which reduces to 1 out of 10. We're then going to need to change our 715 into something that can be divided by 10. So one option would be to change it into 710, or the other option would be to change it into 720. If we pick our first option and say 1/10 of 710, so 1/10 times 710 over 1, our cross reducing is going to give me a 1 and a 71, which would give me an answer of 71 pounds of food. So that would be our first option. Or if we used our second estimating value, I can say 1/10 of 720. Cross reducing here is going to give me a 1 and a 72, which would mean that I have 72 pounds of food. So he can eat about 71 or 72 pounds of food, depending on how you estimate. Go ahead and try this one on your own. 32 is going to round to 30. The closest thing that can be divided by 10 to 238 is going to be 240. And when we do our multiplication, that's going to give us about $72. Now that you are done watching the video, go ahead and check Google Classroom for your homework assignment. Hope you have a great weekend.